Welcome. So good to see you. I hope you're doing well. And I am here today just hanging out, and it's a Sunday. I just finished speaking at the Wealth Summit hosted by Pastor Akeisha Jefferson down at Bowie State University, which has just some of the most amazing young people I've ever seen. They did a great job. They cheered us in when we came in, and I just thought it was I was super impressed with anybody who's cheering for Black economics. I mean, we need more people cheering for Black success. We need more cheering for Black excellence. We need more Black people just really expecting and demanding that we do our best. And everybody ain't gonna do it. Everybody isn't gonna get on board. Not everybody's gonna understand. But I understand. I understand. And give me a yes if you understand the importance of Black excellence. Give me a yes if you understand the importance of Black economics. Give me a yes if you understand why we do this every day. And you guys know that I'm with it. I've probably done 25, 30,000 videos on this topic, these topics, over a billion views by now, actually, believe it or not. And so we have changed the world. We're really shifting Black economic culture on a very high level because we believe deeply in some of those Malcolm X philosophies of Black nationalism, do for self. I'm not waiting for reparations. I don't just want reparations. I want real reparations, right? I want real reparations. Reparations is a tiny little check that the government might write for us at some point that'll probably get spent at the local mall after we get a hold of it. Real reparations is where we build economic systems and build economic culture that's actually going to get us where we want to get to financially. Real reparations is where we change our economic habits. Real reparations is where we start doing the damn thing. We start doing what we're supposed to do. We start living the way we're supposed to live and being who we're supposed to be. So everybody type real reparations in the chat. Real reparations, not reparations. And y'all know what I did with DEI. DEI does not stand for diversity, equity, and inclusion over here. DEI stands for development, entrepreneurship, and investment. So if you want to have the real DEI, then you've got to develop young people to become investors. If you want the real DEI, you must develop your own businesses. If you want the real DEI, you have to develop infrastructure that creates financial security. I'm a financial scientist. I've been teaching this for 30 years at the University of Kentucky, Syracuse University, etc. And I can tell you what that looks like. And I can tell you also that some of what I see is very, very sad because I believe that we can do better. So anyway, now that we've set the proper foundation for this conversation, let's jump to the matter at hand, the lecture at hand. All right, so stick around to the end of the video. I'll give you a stock that I've been buying. I want to talk about Trump's tariffs. How many of y'all have seen what's been going on with Donald Trump and these tariffs? Give me a yes in the chat if you've been watching. That's kind of headline news. It's kind of a big deal. Apparently, he's doing something unconventional. He's actually putting tariffs on Canada and Mexico, and that's just kind of a big deal. I'm not gonna say that it's good or bad. I'm gonna let you decide because I know that the culture wars are heavy and politics is heavy, and you got Black people to say, "I'll be your friend if you're Black, as long as you're a Democrat. I'll be your friend if you're Black, as long as you're a Republican." And when the Democrats and Republicans get to decide which Black friends we're gonna have and which Black family members we're gonna remain loyal to, I'm gonna say that is colonialism. All that is Hutus and Tutsis all over again. All that is divide and conquer. All that is them controlling you. And I'm just gonna say to everybody who's thinking that way, get your mind off the damn plantation. Like who you want to like, hang what you want to hang whoever you want to hang with, but stop letting these politicians tell you who your friends and who your loved ones are supposed to be. So give me a yes if we agree that we can love each other even if we don't agree politically. I think that's really important because we're going to lose so much if we keep letting these fools divide us, and that makes me mad. Like people say, well, the Republicans hate Black people. I'm like, no, they don't hate Black people. They just hate Black Democrats. Well, the Democrats hate Black people. They don't hate Black people. They just hate Black Republicans. So, so don't nobody really like Black people like that. If they like Black people, we'd have better communities. If they like Black people, our kids wouldn't be going to school without learning how to read in these districts run by certain politicians. If they really like Black people, we would have got that reparations check a long time ago. Tell me if you agree. Tell me if you really like Black people, you'd write the damn check. So stop telling me you like Black people because you wore a kente cloth and you scream Black Lives Matter. I don't want to hear all that. Or, so at the end of the day, if you like Black people, we can talk. But if you pretending, then I ain't got nothing to say to you. So anyway, let me get back to it. I don't want to get too distracted, but I had to make that point. All right, so here are some facts about Trump's tariffs that you guys should know. Hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share it, make sure you subscribe, all that stuff. So, number one, the U.S. has imposed a 25% tariff on all imports from Canada and Mexico and a 10% tariff on Chinese goods. The implementation date is today, February 2nd, 2025. It's odd that it's being done on a Sunday, but hey, people get gangster on the weekends too. Justification is that the administration has a need. They're claiming that these tariffs are linked to two things: illegal immigration being allowed by Mexico and Canada, and drug trafficking, basically all the fentanyl that's coming across the border. So, according to President Trump, his belief is that that the Canadians and the Mexicans can be allies in the battle against illegal immigration and fentanyl. Now, I don't know whose fault it is. I can't. That's all for debate. But I do wonder about what's going on. I wondered why we have such an open border. I do know people in my family who've actually been affected by fentanyl, so I do wonder how it's fentanyl's everywhere here. But you ain't go to. I dare you to go to China and try to find the closest fentanyl dealer. Like I dare you. I just if you ever want to experiment and play games with your life, go to China and say, "Hey, yo, how can you help me get a hookup on some of that fentanyl, man?" I want you to try that. I want you to see how quickly you'll be locked up and maybe given the death penalty for possessing drugs or whatever. I want you to see how hard it would be for you to find dope. Now, if you are in the United States, though, for whatever reason, it's very easy to find drugs. And in fact, we even worship and look up to drug dealers, which is kind of weird that the black community would actually honor drug dealers, given how many of our families have been destroyed by drugs. I had a father that was a drug addict. Drugs are not good. Drugs are not fun. Drugs don't stabilize families. Drugs make you worse off. Let's keep going. Canada plans to impose retaliatory tariffs on U.S. imports. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has emphasized Canada's efforts to combat drug flow and enhance border security. So they're saying, look, we're already stopping the flow of drugs. We're already fighting to secure the border, and we're going to impose tariffs right back at you. So I'd be curious to ask, like, in terms of what kind of economic damage could Canada and Mexico do to the United States relative to the damage that we're doing to them? Because you know that I guess one of the things that's interesting is that that it seems like the Americans, we tend to buy stuff from everybody, right? Now, it doesn't mean that their tariffs can't matter, but when you're talking about markets in terms of goods that are exported to different countries, we tend to buy everything from everybody. And so Canada and Mexico, they are two of the United States' top trading partners. The U.S. exports about $400 billion in goods to Mexico per year and $300 billion to Canada. The U.S. imports about $475 billion in goods from Mexico and $400 billion from Canada. So there is a disparity. It's not as big as I thought. I really thought we exported maybe two or three times more, or sorry, imported more than they import from us. But the numbers are not as broad as I thought they'd be, or as different as I thought they'd be. The deficit's not as great. The U.S. does have a larger economy. Um, a lot of North American trade is very, very integrated, and this is why Trump's tariffs are so shocking for so many people. It is a little bit like punching your best friend in the face. It's kind of like hitting him in the face and saying, "You're not doing enough to help me and my kids, so I'm gonna kick you in your ass." I don't really know if that's necessarily standard policy. I'm not going to say that this is going to be a good or bad move. I'm going to say it's definitely unconventional. Now, the economic impact, experts warn that the tariffs could really disrupt about 1.6 trillion in North American trade and potentially end a 30-year system of economic integration. So, integration isn't just something that happened with black people. Integration is also something that happened with the U.S. economy. The top Democrats are obviously criticizing the tariffs. Of course, they're going to criticize anything a Republican does. The Republicans criticize anything Democrats do. If you remember when Obama came into office, the Republicans were basically like, "We're not going to let you do anything. We're not going to support you in any way," which I honestly think is incredibly un-American. I really wish the people in Capitol Hill. I'm in Washington right now. Where I spoke yesterday at Bowie State, and I wish they would act like grown-ups, but they don't. That's what politicians do. There is a concern about an impact on inflation, right? Because basically what a tariff says is that when you sell stuff in my neighborhood, I'm going to make it higher. It's going to cost more for people to buy your stuff than it will cost them to buy things that are made in America. The financial markets are kind of getting ready for volatility. The stock market, if you've seen, has been a little bit shaky and jumpy and kind of crazy. And there's an expectation of what they call a risk-off sentiment, which basically means people might sell. They might start selling their stock because they're afraid of the volatility. Now, what I want to break down for you very quickly is the fact that tariffs are a mixed bag. There are pros and there are cons of tariffs. Don't let anybody ever convince you that when it comes to most economic concepts that if there's a yin, there's usually a yang. Don't A lot of people will just say yin, 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 and they'll only talk about the yin, but they won't talk about the yang. They'll talk about the good, but they won't talk about the bad, or they'll focus on the bad and they won't talk about the good. Most economic theories, most theories related to financial markets has a good and a bad component. For example, the stock market goes up. That's good if you are a stock owner, but it's bad if you're trying to buy stock, right? If the stock market goes down, that's good if you're trying to buy stock, but it's bad if you own stock. Do you understand? So, understanding the yin and the yang on most economic dynamics is, in my view, a more balanced approach than simply allowing somebody to convince you that something's unconditionally good or unconditionally bad. Even inflation isn't bad for everybody. Like a lot of people believe inflation's bad for everyone. No, inflation is great for people that own assets. Inflation is great for people that own stock. Inflation is great for people that own real estate. Inflation is great for people that are able to own assets. So don't ever let anybody tell you that inflation is bad for everybody. It's just bad for working people who don't invest. That's why I tell you consistently that I believe every single black person in America needs to be an investor and raise their children that way. Don't raise them to struggle, raise them to win. So before I do that, let me mention a stock that I'm buying right now. I'll do that. If before, could you please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. You're watching Dr. Boyce Daily Stock Market. This podcast is on Spotify. So if you look up Dr. Boyce Daily Stock Market on Spotify, you will find me there. I do as much content there as I can. And your support really matters. Also, if you want to get recordings of all the trainings that we do a morning class every single day, 7 days a week. It's very, very popular. Over 10,000 of you have signed up. It's called Money in the Morning, and it's our millionaire training camp where I teach the art of economic elevation. And if you want to get the recordings, we've done about 400 trainings in the last year and a half. You can go to drboycedaily.com and get access to that for your whole family, and I guarantee you it'll elevate your economics. That's drboycedaily.com. So the stock that I like right now is Cigna Healthcare. Cigna Healthcare. I just bought shares of Cigna. This is not investing advice. This is just me telling you what I'm investing in. Cigna Healthcare. CI is the ticker symbol. The ticker symbol is CI. And again, not me telling you what to buy, but it is what I'm buying. So there you go. There's a stock you can take a look at. Feel free to partake if that's something that you think would be good for your portfolio. Also, don't forget we do stock market training in the Black Business School. We're the best on earth at Black Wealth. You can go to drboycestockmarket.com and do a 30-day free trial if you really like the stock market and want to dig into it. drboycestockmarket.com. Okay, so here are the 4 pros of tariffs. So remember, tariffs are not good. They're not bad. They're just a thing. They have a yin and they have a yang. So what's the yin? The yin of tariffs, meaning the good part, is that tariffs can protect domestic industries. So tariffs shield local businesses from foreign competition, which allows them to grow. The Chinese have lots of tariffs. The Chinese have a very local sort of orientation. You know, the same way I talk about being B1, the Chinese are C1. So, for example, if you go to China and you try to look up Google, your phone will say, "Sorry, we know no Google. We not here no Google." But that's because they've got their own versions of Google. If you try to look up Facebook on your phone in China, they're going to say, your phones will say, "We know, no, I know, no Facebook. What if Facebook, right?" Because they don't let Facebook into China. If you try to get an Uber in China, you'll be stranded. You'll just be sitting on the corner. You'll be walking that day because there's no Uber in China because they're very protective of other industries. Not only do they put tariffs on foreign goods. They go beyond tariffs. They just say, keep your ass up out of here. We don't need you. We're making our own stuff. They do what Dr. Claude Anderson talks about in Powernomics. They protect local industries. So the same way we talk about protecting black-owned businesses by focusing on industry businesses that are in our community, the Chinese, they've been doing that. That's a commitment. That's how they measure what kind of a citizen you are. So tariffs do protect local industries. The United States, well, we're different. You know, these hoes ain't loyal. These hoes ain't loyal. The United States does not care about protecting local industry. The United States is a country full of people that believe in globalism. And globalism can be good in that it can keep prices down. You can go get your little Walmart t-shirt for 45 cents or whatever, right? But the problem is that the lack of protection for local industries is that's the reason Gary, Indiana is now an abandoned city where it used to be a bustling, prosperous town. The lack of protection in local industry, that's why Toledo, Ohio was gutted of its manufacturing, right? The lack of protection for local industry is why Detroit hit a downslide, right? So I'm not saying that you should have tariffs on everything, right? I'm not saying there aren't benefits to a global economy, but the easy transferability of assets across borders and capital across borders, human capital and manufacturing, all that, I don't know if America wins from that. We had NAFTA. I don't know if America really won from NAFTA. I think America won, but I don't know if Americans won, if that makes sense. I think America won because our wealth did go up, but and because we have more billionaires than ever, right? Elon Musk is worth $440 billion. But just because you have more billionaires does not mean that the average American worker is doing better. In fact, let's think about that point. I want to ask y'all a question in the chat. Do you think, yes or no, that the average American worker in this country is better off now than they were, say, in 1985? Yes or no? With all this prosperity, all this money being made, stock market's going up, all the, everybody's getting rich, seems like a lot of people are getting rich. Do you think that the average American worker is better off now than they were 30 years ago? Yes or no? Well, the answer is no, you're not better off, right? So it's like, well, wait, if there's more money, how come everybody's not better off? That's because capitalist systems don't care about the proper distribution of wealth. So ultimately, I'm not saying the tariffs are good. I'm just saying that protecting a job, sometimes it's okay to pay a little bit more for a product if you know it was American made. I don't see anything wrong with that. I pay more for stuff if it's black made, if a black person made it, or if my cousin made it. I'm gonna pay a 20% premium and not care. I don't care about inflation too much as long as you ain't ripping me off. So really tariffs can encourage local production because the imports are more expensive. It can even generate government revenue, limited. Trump talks about that a lot, but I don't know if it's like a lot of money to make a difference. But it does provide additional income from the government that can be used for infrastructure, education, and public services. It also addresses trade imbalances, right? So by discouraging excessive imports, tariffs can help reduce the deficits of trade. So right now with Mexico and Canada, we are at a trade deficit, meaning we buy more of their stuff than they buy of our stuff because we got more money than they've got, right? The black community is in a trade deficit. You buy more white people's stuff than they buy of your stuff. Give me a yes if you understand. You discriminate against black businesses and buy from white businesses. They discriminate against black businesses and buy from white businesses. Can I get an amen if you want to say it's Sunday? Give me an amen if you've seen this. If you are aware of this, give me an amen if you believe that this is an issue that should be addressed. So we have a trade deficit, and trade deficits, sometimes tariffs can fix trade deficits. You protect industries that you want to control. Now, here's the downside of tariffs. This is real. This is where the criticism for Trump is coming, and it's valid criticism. One is you can have an increase in consumer prices. So prices can go up. You can have some inflation on specific goods from those countries where the tariffs are imposed. So anything coming from Mexico or Canada is going to have a price hike. Also, tariffs can lead to retaliation. So remember, I told you all how economics is gang affiliated, right? And if I was to look at what products we import from Mexico and Canada, what you will find is that a lot of those products now are going to lead to additional tariffs imposed in the other direction. So sorry, let me explain it like this. So one, those products are going to be more expensive because we're imposing tariffs. Two, when we ship things to those other countries, they're going to impose tariffs back, and that becomes retaliatory, and that can create a problem in terms of global trade, right? That can just make things kind of worse. So ultimately, this is going to lead to retaliation logically from other countries. Also, it can hurt businesses that lean on imports. So there are a lot of businesses that need foreign materials in order to make their American-made goods. That's going to be more expensive for them, and it can just disrupt supply chains in general. You need supply chains in order to get products to make things. Now, in terms of the products that the U.S. gets from Mexico and Canada. The U.S. imports about $100 billion in automobile parts. So Ford and GM rely a lot on automobile parts from Mexico. We import a lot of consumer and electronic products like smartphones, semiconductors, home appliances. We import a lot of machinery from core construction, agricultural stuff, manufacturing equipment, oil and petroleum. Mexico exports a lot of oil to the United States. Agricultural products, a few avocados, tomatoes, berries, beef, beer, tequila, and other fresh produce. But you don't need tequila, so stop drinking so much. Medical equipment, pharmaceutical stuff that comes from Mexico. Now, with Canada, we get a lot of crude oil and petroleum products, about $110 billion of that. We also get automobile parts from Canada, which is essential for making cars in the US. Lumber and wood products, which are essential for housing construction, things like that. We get a lot of metals like aluminum, steel, and copper, and all that stuff. So this is going to be kind of messy. Is this something that should be that Trump should have done? I don't know. I don't know if I would have handled it the same way. I can understand, however, the concern about the fentanyl issue. I do believe that there is a an effort by other countries to destroy the United States from the inside out. I do believe that it's not a coincidence that we've been flooded with people from other countries and flooded with these weird drugs that are doing horrible things to people. I don't know if you have anybody in your family that's been addicted to that fentanyl stuff. It's just crazy. It's terrible. So I don't know. I hope somebody fixes it. I don't know if a tariff is going to do it, but it's going to be the beginning of a very interesting ride. Now, do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. This is Dr. Boyce Daily. If you want to find this podcast on Spotify, just look up my name on Spotify. You can find me there. Also, every morning we do Money in the Morning, which is a financial consciousness training that I do every day. It's a millionaire training camp. It's free for you and your family. So if you want to join us tomorrow and get a wake up call from me via text, pull out your phone, text the word morning to the number 87948. Text morning to 87948. Not only do I invite you to class, but I'll send you a lot of free information and just free stuff to help you get your economics to the highest level. It will give you more than you got in college, that's for sure, because most universities don't teach black economics very well. So just pull out your phone, text the word morning to 87948, or you can also go to drboyceelevate.com. Also, to answer your question, some of you were asking about the stock that I mentioned earlier. The stock that I mentioned, this is not a recommendation. This is a stock that I bought personally. It's Cigna Healthcare, CI. CI is the ticker symbol for Cigna Healthcare. So feel free to partake and enjoy, and I hope that you make a killing. Some of those stocks that we've talked about in the past have done quite well. If you remember last week when the market took that crazy dip and it went bananas and everything dropped because of that thing with DeepSeek, and I was mentioning to you all that I believe that there's more to it, and now OpenAI has opened an investigation because they believe that DeepSeek actually went to a black market or something and illegally acquired some really advanced chips. I don't know, but I felt like the market was overreacting. And so I bought some of the stocks that got hit pretty hard, like Oklo and stuff like that. And those stocks have done quite well since then. I can't remember all of them, but a lot of you that do stock options with us, you know what I'm talking about. And so long story short, this didn't surprise me because the market does that. It tends to be a little bit of a drama queen. And like I was telling the students this weekend at Bowie State at the Wealth Summit, I said, the key thing about investing is that you got to keep your cool. You cannot overreact to every little thing. You cannot freak out if the market's freaking out. You got to just pick your strategy, stay with it, and be consistent. And if you're consistent over several years, then the money will eventually pour out. It does take time. Money does take time to arrive. Fast money is the fast money is the don't last money. I want you to have the long, slow money. That's the serious money. Okay, guys, well, I'm going to get out of here. By the way, we have in the Black Business School, as you know, the first ever Black Financial Therapy Department. We have a lot of PhDs and experts that you can work with. One of them happens to be my beautiful wife. And so not only is she cute, but she's smart. And she does something called Mental Health Mondays. So tomorrow, she's going to do a Mental Health Monday session with some other therapists to help you break your deal with your money, your mindset when it comes to money, relationships, anything else. So if you'd like to be notified when they meet up, just text the word love to that phone number 87948. So if you text love to 87948, we'll send you a link where you can join Mental Health Monday and come into the private Zoom and get the therapy that you need, because half of us are crazy. Y'all know it. I'm crazy. We all crazy, because being black will make you crazy. And I want you to be uncrazy so you can go get that money. So we're going to be uncrazy and unlazy so we can go get paid and have this money and be successful and have good families and really succeed and really compete and really win because that's what we're supposed to do because we're black and being black should mean excellence. I think that's what it should stand for. So anyway, God bless you guys. Thank you guys for hanging out. It was wonderful to see you, and I'll keep you posted on what happens with this Trump stuff. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care now. Peace.